Is at this host and adjourn. Public Janda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's a real honour to be able to speak in this chamber on behalf of my constituents and my local football team, Gloucester City Football Club. The team actually has 125 years of history and tradition, roughly the same as Tottenham Hotspur, actually. And earlier on this season, there was a lot made of Tottenham Hotspur being in crisis, having problems, having difficulties, before Harry Houdini Redknapp turned up and sorted out their problems. I must say, if Tottenham Hotspur think that they've got problems, they should actually see what it's like, non-league, in the grassroots, when you really do have major difficulties to overcome, because Gloucester City have had major difficulties to overcome, not least brought about by the major floods of 2007, Mr. Speaker. As I said, 125 years of history. March 1983, the club came into being. And in their opening game, one of Gloucestershire's most famous sons was actually refereeing that game, a certain W.G. Grace, famous for playing cricket, but he was refereeing that game all those years ago. And we've had lots of ups and downs over the years. In the 1980s, the mid-1980s, 1986 to be precise, we moved to Meadow Park in the Gloucester Docks area. In the 1980s, we also hosted Wealdstone, who had quite an effective young left-back by the name of Stuart Pearce. We don't know what's happened to him since, but you know, we've gone on and had some great seasons in the 1990s. West Ham United fans will recall a player by the name of Leroy Rosenior, who was our player manager. And in 1996-97, we had a particularly good season, a great cup run, and come the very last game of the season, we were on the edge of promotion. We got the wrong results. Unfortunately, Cheltenham Town got the right result for them. They went up. I'll give way to the Cheltenham Town fan.
I thank my honourable friend for giving way. As he said, I have to own up to being a season ticket holder and lifelong supporter of the arch rivals of Gloucester City, Cheltenham Town. And can I offer my support as a Cheltenham supporter? I remember going long before he was even thought of to the old Long Levens ground to watch Cheltenham play Gloucester, then of course Horton Road and more recently Meadow Park. And I do feel that the loss of the football ground has deprived Gloucestershire of one of the key highlights of the footballing season, the annual Cheltenham-Gloucester game, and a new ground would, I'm sure, give them a tremendous boost, so they might rise up the leagues and play us on equal terms again.
I appreciate the comments of my honourable friend, probably the most famous Cheltenham Town fan here in Parliament. He's quite right. I mean, the local rivalry is important, although the clubs in recent years have worked very well together. We've also learned something very important from the fact that Cheltenham have been successful and got into the Football League. We are, I think, the largest area anywhere in the country which does not have a professional team in the Football League. So it just goes to show we have real opportunity, real possibilities. At the minute we have a very young, effective team doing well, pushing for promotion, and full of actually local lads as well. So I think we've got real cause to be ambitious in terms of what we're doing on the ground. But then along came that day in July of 2007, July the 22nd. Now, local people will be well aware of that famous picture of Meadow Park, 8 foot underwater. All you could see was the top of the crossbars. It was going to be impossible for us to return to Meadow Park, and we haven't played in Gloucester since, for the last 15 months. It's actually the third time. That was the third time that the ground has flooded in 21 years. It makes the ground, Meadow Park, uninsurable. So we cannot go back there. If we did go back there and played again, we could have serious rainfall, flood, and it would cost something like nearly £100,000 to do the work to actually be able to get back in to repair the damage of the last set of floods. So we've been beavering away in the Southern Premier League, Nonetheless, even though we're playing a long way outside of Gloucester with the largest away support of any team in our division, I think that goes to show the devotion of our fans. Last season we played in my honourable friend's constituency at Forest Green. We're very grateful to Forest Green, albeit at a price, having us play there last season. And this season we're playing our games in Cirencester, at the home of Cirencester Town. Now, for all home fans, all Gloucester City fans, myself and all of the rest of us, that means a 40-mile round trip. A 40-mile round trip to go to see your local team play a home game. Mr. Speaker, I think that's not an acceptable situation for us to be in 15 months after the floods. Can I actually pay real tribute to those involved in running the club who have kept it, pardon the pun, they've kept the club afloat, they've kept the club alive despite all the difficulties they've had to go through. In particular, someone who I'm proud to say has become a good friend of mine, we spent a lot of time together of late, the chairman, Dave Phillips, Phil Warren, who's the club's historian, basically, but also chair of the Supporters Trust, Mike Dunstan, the press officer there, and Tim Harris, the general manager. All of them have actually made the journey up to London to be here tonight and to witness the debate, which I think just goes to show their level of devotion. Also, Eamon McGurk, the most senior shareholder, the biggest shareholder in the club, has had to bail the club out on many occasions in the past. But most importantly, along with these people, the volunteers that actually muck in, week out, to help to keep our local team ticking over. It's a very important occasion for us, and I know a lot of people in Gloucester will be watching this at home as well, and it would be remiss of me not to take the opportunity to talk to my honourable friend the Minister and make a few requests. The Football Foundation have actually been a very good friend to my constituency. I actually play whenever I can. On a Thursday night, I go down and have a kickabout with the reserve team at Abbeymead Rovers. Wonderful new 3G AstroTurf pitch, laid in no small part thanks to the Football Foundation, put hundreds of thousands of pounds into that project in Abbeydale. They've also put hundreds of thousands of pounds into a project supporting Quedgeley Wanderers in the south of my constituency with new changing facilities. They're a wonderful organisation, they do good work, but I need to make it quite clear that if we are to survive as a club with very little resource at the moment, on hard times through no fault of our own because of flooding, then we will need the Football Foundation to step in and to support us, and frankly it will be to the tune of probably millions of pounds to help us find a stadium back in the city. The club, Gloucester City Football Club, throughout the flooding were very, very frank. They put their concerns to one side and said, actually, this is about people's lives at the moment. It's about properties. But it's been 15 months now. People's lives are moving on. We're heading into an economic downturn. But at times like this, people rely on their local sporting institutions more so than ever. And actually a thriving football club with our catchment, with our young players, back in the heart of the city of Gloucester could actually make an economic difference to our city as well, I believe. So what can my right honourable friend do to support us? Well, there's a Football Foundation who have been very, very helpful in the past, and if you can help to engage them with me and with the club and our local authorities, that will make a difference. I hadn't planned tonight to talk about specific options, but having spoken to the club and having the Minister here today, I will mention briefly the two most likely options, I believe, for a return, because I think the Minister can help us there as well. Firstly, the option of a return to Meadow Park. Now, the ground would require a lot of work to be insurable again. It would probably mean raising the level of the ground. It may even mean rotating the pitch 180 degrees. It may involve actually finding new channels to release the water, and also to take mitigating measures so there is other available floodplain, because we don't want properties to be flooded as a consequence of raising the level of the pitch. But this means a really involved and thorough and actually a quick piece of work by the Environment Agency, because we've got this season and we've got next season at Cirencester Town. But beyond that, well, we need a quick solution to give the fans the hope that they deserve for the future. So any help that my honourable friend can give me in engaging the Environment Agency and a possible return to Meadow Park would be one possible avenue. It may not be possible at all. It may be a far too complicated possible return. There is another very good and very strong possibility out there. Last week I met with the leadership of Gloucester City Council. A couple of weeks ago I met with the leadership of Gloucestershire County Council. This isn't about politics. Across political lines, I've only heard good things from the leadership of both councils, who both tell me that they're very, very keen to work with the club and to bring them home as quickly as possible. Well, there is another site that I viewed last week on Friday, Blackbridge playing fields, 20, 30 acre site in the heart of my constituency, owned by Gloucestershire County Council. I look forward to engaging with them on the possibility of bringing Gloucester City home to that site, not the whole of that site, a small corner of that site, I think would be a real possibility and a strong possibility for a modest stadium, a clubhouse and some car parking. It would only take a 50 or at most 100-yard road from Stroud Road, one of the busy roads in my constituency, to the ground in a parcel of that land. It is alongside a strip owned by Network Rail. So I would encourage my honourable friend to work with me and with local agencies to involve Network Rail in any possible dialogue to speed along any possible solution for the club at the Blackbridge playing fields. I'm very, very encouraged, as I say, from the contacts I've had with Gloucestershire County Council and Gloucester City Council, and I believe that the time could well be right now to work together to bring one of these two solutions to the fore and to find a strong business case to present to and to work with the Football Foundation to bring the club home. Our clubs, our sporting institutions actually play a very, very big role in our lives. They certainly play a very, very big role in the life of my constituency in Gloucester.
Just my honourable friend give way on that point.
I will give way to my honourable friend.
I thank my honourable friend for giving way and for recognising that we did host the city last year. Would you agree with me that one of the problems in a county like Gloucestershire is we've historically had very good football, rugby and cricket, but our facilities haven't really moved forward. I mean, the rugby club, as he knows better than me, have had a difficult job in trying to move forward in terms of evolving a new stadium. We do need outside help because every area is looking to renew and regenerate, and it's about time we did that in Gloucestershire.
Indeed, I'm grateful to my honourable friend, and not least because he reminds me of the point that actually this has a far bigger community repercussion as well. Gloucester City has 120 people involved in its youth teams, a further 100 people actually involved coaching and working with young women as well. Now, to actually have a site, a modern site, albeit a modest one, for them in the heart of my constituency, making a difference, will I think make a real difference to all of the local communities of my constituency. Just a couple of weeks ago I was with local fans at a fundraiser for the club, and one of the activists there, a real diehard fan by the name of Nigel Hughes, came up to me. He's very recently been widowed. He lost his wife just a few weeks ago, and he said to me, he said, "Parmjit, right now, at this time in my life, this football club actually means more to me than you could ever imagine. I know there are very many other people in the city of Gloucester that feel the same way, equally passionately about our local club. So for his sake, for Beverly Hughes as well, and indeed all Gloucester City supporters and the whole city of Gloucester, I hope my honourable friend can help me to work with local authorities, to work with the Football Foundation and the local club to bring Gloucester City back home where it belongs."
Over forward.
I would like to congratulate my honourable friend for securing this debate and also to commend him for the passion with which he talks about his football club. A football club is much more than just somewhere where you play sport. It's about identity and it's about family. And I'm glad that members of the family have been so supportive to you and that you in turn are so supportive to them. I know from my own constituency of Stevenage what a difference it has made to have a regenerated football club, both to the town's whole ethos and also to its economy, because it has, it performs a function in the economy. I think that Gloucester City should be very proud of you and of my honourable friend and of the work that he is doing for his constituents and for communities around, who support Gloucester City Football Club. A key element to helping deliver the government's commitments to sport, which I'm going to say a little bit more about in a minute, is to ensure that communities across the country have a wide range of good provision, which in turn encourages them to participate more and lead healthier lives. Not only does sport reduce the chances of ill health, it improves skills and confidence, something which we badly need at the moment, enhances social networks and strengthens social cohesion. In other words, as we've seen tonight, as my honourable friend has demonstrated, the power of sport goes way beyond the pitch, court or track. And I think the Gloucester City Football Club is a wonderful example of that power. Only last week, in this House, my Right Honourable friend, the Secretary of State for Culture, Media and Sport, spoke about the government's key legacy goals for sport, which include creating a world-leading community sports system and getting 1 million more people playing it. This goal builds on significant investment in sport over recent years, and particularly investment in facilities. Since 2001, over £1 billion has been committed to develop new or refurbished facilities through a mix of exchequer and lottery funding. In total, 4,000 new or refurbished sports facilities are being supported by government funding programs. And it's clear that this investment is paying off. In the last decade, 65% of the nation's facilities stock has either been rebuilt, built or refurbished. We've also taken steps to protect places where sport is played, specifically playing fields. After years of having our playing fields sold off, we now have tough measures in place to protect them. Sport England is a statutory consulting on all planning applications affecting playing fields, and planning guidance to local authorities is clear. No playing field needed by the community should be removed. All this work has brought us into a position where currently 90% of the English population is within 20 minutes travel time of at least 2 different facilities that are in most demand by the public. Though I do know that in the case of Gloucester City, they've got a 40-mile round trip. So in the case of football in Gloucester City, it's further away than that. This government has provided an unprecedented level of support for sport. However, and I have to stress this, local authorities are the main providers of sports and recreation facilities, and as such are best placed to make decisions about what facilities to provide to best meet the needs of the local community. And I'm very glad that my honourable friend has engaged both the county and the city council in this, because I know again from the case of my own constituency that in the end the solution came from Stevenage Borough Council, and it was working with them that we broke through. Yes, certainly.
I appreciate what she says, and she's quite right to make the point about the levels of funding into sporting infrastructure. She's not the sports minister, but I was wondering whether I could actually draw her a little bit on that, and whether she feels, from what she understands of this, whether she feels that this is the kind of project that the Football Foundation should and would want to get behind.
That, of course, is a matter for the Football Foundation, but I'm sure that as my honourable friend has raised this matter tonight in the House, they will be taking it into account and will work with Gloucester City and Gloucester County Council, as they have with many other authorities, to make sure that we have the provision in England that we need. The support that government gives to local authorities mainly comes through Sport England, which has developed a range of strategic planning tools to assist them to modernise their leisure facilities and to ensure that the right facilities are provided in the right location. And this is helping local authorities to identify the gaps and target resources where they're most needed. Sport England's Facilities Improvement Service is also working closely with local authorities to improve their strategic planning for community sport at a local level. Additionally, the unprecedented government investment through Building Schools for the Future offers a number of unique opportunities to local authorities. The government therefore expect local authorities to consider how new developments can build on current and anticipated and sported needs of a local community. Investment in football is very important. It's our national game and incredibly popular. However, the peak of the game only accounts for a very small amount of those involved in football. As my honourable friend mentioned, you have children, you have young boys, you have young girls who are really getting involved at a much lower level. And the football authorities recognise the wider impact of the game, especially in the lower leagues and at the grassroots level. Sport England's Active People Survey shows that football is as popular an activity in Gloucester as anywhere else in the country. Football is one of the sports that have submitted a whole sport plan to Sport England for funding from 2009. This includes how they propose to invest money in facilities to help develop the sport. It's right that football receives government funding as the sport helps to deliver our sporting aims. That is why through the Football Foundation, the Premier League, the Football Association and the government together have invested over 300 million in football since the year 2000. This includes 2 million in community projects in my honourable friend's constituency. These have ranged from a £400 grant awarded to Gloucester City Girls Football Club for new kit, right up to a £426,000 grant to Abbeydale Community Association towards the development of its facilities. Added to this, the government has, through Sport England, invested over £59 million in community football since 2005. Turning specifically to Gloucester City Football Club, I would like firstly to acknowledge and congratulate the club on its 125 years history, also on its incredible resilience. Having been flooded out of its ground 3 times during that history, it's remarkable that they have reached this milestone. And I note that my honourable friend is sporting the yellow and black tie of the club, and perhaps, that looks like a bee or a wasp, and those are very tenacious insects. I was disappointed to learn about the devastating impact that the 2007 floods had on the club's Meadow Park ground. Whilst all those concerned will have been extremely disappointed at this, I was pleased to note that the football family in Gloucester City have come together to help this club find temporary homes, firstly at Forest Green Rovers and now at Cirencester Town. I know that the club have been working with a range of interested parties, including the city and county councils and the Football Association at a national and county level to identify appropriate sites for a new stadium. And my honourable friend has mentioned the names of some of these. I would encourage the club to continue these discussions with these parties and to also consider the available options through the Football Stadia Improvement Fund, from where I'm informed up to £150,000 could be available towards the development of a new ground. I'm also advised that up to I'm also advised that up to £1 million of funding could be available through the Football Foundation to support additional facilities. As I understand it, the club hold aspirations to develop a community facility, and this may be a funding route open to them if their aim is achieved. I would also urge the local authorities in Gloucester to undertake a full review of their sports provision, plan strategically for the future, and consider whether the club's desire for a new stadium could be met within the provision of the sporting facility needs of the local community. I would also ask the Honourable Member to keep my Honourable friend, the Minister of Sport, informed on progress on this issue, and I in turn will inform the Minister of Sport of the various options that my Honourable friend is considering. I wish Gloucester City Football Club the very best of luck, and they are lucky in having my Honourable friend as their constituency member.
Order. Question is this House to now adjourn. As many as that opinion say aye. Aye. Contrary no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Order. Order.